There we go. Is it on me yet? There it goes. Okay. Am I loud enough? Does that sound good? Yeah? All right, here we go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Leafy Podcast. Thank you so much for being here today with us. I have our host, Jennifer, on the line from Leafy Legal Services, and she has an amazing guest today with us. So I'll go ahead and pass it on to her. Jennifer?
So today we have a different type of guest, but one that I'm very excited to talk to because we all need a little bit more organization in our life. And this guest has worked directly with the co-founder of Scrum, and he is a Scrum expert. If you don't know what Scrum is, you will by the end of this show. And this can be used for teams as small as 1 to 2 people if you need it. As well, he's worked with up to Fortune 100 companies. He's taught more than 30,000 people about Scrum working in the Americas, Europe, Australia, Colombia. He has 20 years of experience. So let us welcome the fabulous Fabian Schwartz. Welcome to Leafy Podcast, Fabian.
Yeah, nice. Thanks a lot, and thanks for having me on that podcast.
Oh yeah, we're very excited. Okay, so a lot of people will wonder what Scrum is. So give them just a little bit of a definition. Our audience is mostly real estate investors and entrepreneurs. The entrepreneurs probably will know well, but all real estate investors are entrepreneurs. So anyway, tell them what Scrum is and how it can help them.
Okay, so Scrum is a really lightweight management framework that can help to dramatically increase your performance.
Okay, see, I love that. I love the fact that it's lightweight because there are so many things that are so heavy and intensive, I don't have the bandwidth for it. So if you're saying it's lightweight, I'm gonna love it. And then it increases your performance. So tell us how Scrum is used. It can be used in the smaller businesses. So let's target people who are at the small business level, just starting out. How can they use Scrum and start to transform their business?
So Scrum is all about getting fast feedback. Mm-hmm. So small businesses, they will usually offer products or services. So the idea is you get something out there to the client as fast as you can, and you receive feedback on that, and then you improve your product or your service. But additionally, Scrum also has an internal feedback part, which helps you to improve your internal process, which then makes you not only twice as fast, but probably 4 times as fast, or let's not talk about fast, like to make you produce 4 times as much value as you probably did before.
So how do you feel that communications are adding to value?
Okay, yeah, communication is a pretty interesting thing. So I think communication is absolutely necessary to synchronize the team, but on the other hand, the moment you communicate, you're not producing the value because you need to talk or you write or whatever your communication channel is. So Scrum is really good in streamlining your communication to improve your communication saturation, but in a way that you don't spend all the time communicating, sitting in meetings, etc. But you go straight to the point.
Okay, I like that. And are there different types of tools that you use as far as software technology in order to do that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I somehow like technology, but probably for a different reason than most of the people. So we like technology here because that gives us lots of clients. Okay. usually happens is the client has a problem. Uh-huh. So then he implements some tool and now he has 2 problems, the problem he had before plus the tool.
Right.
So I think tools can be very helpful, but we have to understand that's a tool. So if you buy a Ferrari and you don't know how to drive, the Ferrari is basically useless. So I think that my message is, like, first you have to understand Scrum and to fix your problem. But if you want to have tools, well, there are lots of tools there, like communication tools like Zoom are good. And if you need a Scrum board or a Kanban board, easy lightweight tools as Trello or Meistertask. There are lots of tools out there. I would probably shoot for easy to use tool, not for a very heavy tool, because it increases the learning curve that you need to implement it.
Mm-hmm. We have Slack. That's one that we really love. And of course we love Zoom too for us. And then the old fashioned telephone. So, or when you are, so if you're dealing with, so let's say we're going to talk about real estate investors. We're going to see if this is something that real estate investors can use. Now I know Scrum can be used in a wide variety of different environments. So with real estate investors, they often have very uncertain environments. So they are having to communicate rapidly and quickly, not just with financial people trying to get the money to buy their projects and what they need to do with that, but then they have to communicate with a real estate agent. Usually they're trying to have help on that end with the property. And then if they're having to do rehab with the property, there's an entire team of people that are going to be renovating that. And they all kind of have to work together and as one unit, even though most of them are all independent. Can you use Scrum in an independent environment? And if so, how would you do that?
Okay, so I would probably answer like this. So Scrum is all about prioritizing what you're going to do. The idea is you do first what generates the highest return on investment, and you do last what generates the lowest return on investment. So let's say if you, for example, if you want to flip a house, you bought a house, now you want to fix some stuff and you have a certain budget. I don't know, let's say you have $20,000. And then you look at the house and say, okay, so if I want to resell the house and I want to get the maximum amount of money out of the sale, what would add the highest value? I don't know, probably a new kitchen would be the highest return on invest. So you put that on top of your backlog. And then maybe you want to have a chimney, or I invent that. So you want to have a chimney is like the second thing, what adds most value or most return on invest. So you basically create a list of all the things you can do, but you prioritize the list by return on invest. And then you do just what you can do with the $20,000 you have. So that's the way how Scrum works. You prioritize, and then you go step by step what you can do with the time and the money you have.
That just seems so easy, like duh, of course, right? So if it's so easy, why is it so hard? You've done this with 30,000 people. You have to teach them how to do it, and then you go back and teach them for a concept that seems so simple. Why is it so difficult for people to implement?
Okay, so that's a good question. So we always say Scrum is very easy to understand, but very hard to implement. I personally believe that's probably because of our habits and the way we are taught to act. So I think everybody's able of understanding Scrum, but when you implement it, you need a lot of discipline. And for example, what I said, the internal review process to improve your performance, like a continuous improvement, but that means change, no? So if you find a habit that doesn't work for you, you have to change a habit. And we all know changing habits is difficult. So I believe it's probably due to that.
Oh, so it's just the people themselves that make it a little bit difficult.
Well, it depends on the size of the company also. So it's just 2 or 3 people in a startup. Well, it's probably just the people. But if you have a 20, 30,000 people organization, it's also the structure, the politics, and the government in that organization, because they're built in a certain way to do certain things. And if you come and go there with Scrum, and that's different to what they're used to do, it's way more difficult to change, because you don't just have to change the people, which is really difficult, but you also have to change the whole structure and setup of the organization, which makes it even more difficult.
Yeah. So do you think that once Scrum is implemented, if they're able to make the changes and at least to get the ideology out there, do you feel that it helps an organization to be more adaptive with changes later if they do this? Or
yeah, I do think so, but I have to say probably the following thing. So I think what people or companies want from us is they want to be more agile, or as you say, more adaptive. And they use Scrum as one tool. So I have to say, like, using Scrum doesn't automatically make you agile. Using Scrum will show you where you are not. And now it's your turn to change. So Scrum will show you pretty fast where you have problems. But the challenge now is to fix the problems. So if you fix the problems one by one, you will become more agile. If you don't, well, you use some Scrum elements, but you will probably not be more agile.
Oh. What do you think are for people that maybe are just starting out, are there any concepts or Scrum concepts you feel that they can start right now, other than making their prioritization list for their ROI?
Probably 2 things that I think are important. First thing, you should work in iterations. So if you have a project, don't shoot for the final goal at once. Just break the project down into smaller projects that have value to it, and they deliver something small but that has value to it, and then learn from that. So the second thing would be to get feedback on your product, but also to look at your process and try to improve both for the next iteration. So that will make you faster and better every iteration.
Every time you're talking, I'm thinking about things we can do here. Of course, I'm trying to put it in like how to be able to do it. So for an investor, let me try to break that down a little bit. And it's basically taking things into bite-sized pieces so that you're not looking at something as a whole. See, if you do your entire business plan, right, because you want to get funding, you have to project out to the very end because you want to get value, for your project, right? So let's say you're going to seed funding and you're an entrepreneur that's listening to us right now. You're in big picture mode, you're out there and you're trying to get people to buy into your big picture along with some basic processes, right? And then if you're a real estate investor, you're trying to either get hard money letters to give you their money so you can take that money, you can invest in multifamily or real estate, commercial investment, whatever you're doing, and you have to be a little bit big picture then. But you also have to, in the business plan sense, break it down into stages so that you have phase one will be to do X, Y, and Z. Real estate investors have it pretty easy because it's by rote. It's the same things over and over and over with just a couple of little differences. Entrepreneurs, it's going to be a little bit different. You need to celebrate your successes while also hacking your system as you go along. So I don't know if that helps make sense just a little bit.
So I think these business plans are all based on your net present value forecast, or based on your cash flow forecast, let's say. Okay. So most of these plans use net present value as the formula to make that calculation, and the formula is pretty easy. So the real problem is not the formula, the problem is the data you put into the formula. Right. And this data is usually based on assumptions, on certain kind of hypotheses. And the problem for the investor is the investor isn't sure if the hypothesis holds true or not, or if your assumptions are true or not. So Scrum can help you to prove those assumptions. So you can use Scrum to get a minimum viable product out there, get feedback, and prove or reject your assumptions. So that's, for example, how Dropbox tested their hypothesis. So the hypothesis from Dropbox was that people would use online storage and pay for it. So if you ask for investment immediately, well, you probably need some $1 million to set up the whole Dropbox infrastructure and market that to the first people. But they basically did a video explaining their service and getting feedback on the video. And when they learned that there was so much interest in their service, then they put money on the table to develop the product. So Scrum can really help you with this iterative approach to prove your assumptions and make it actually more secure for the investor to invest money. Actually, Jeff Sutherland works for OpenView Venture Partners, or works with OpenView Venture Partners, and apparently what I heard from him is that every investment they have expects the team to use Scrum.
Really? That's very interesting. See, I think that would really help, because there are people, I know that people are hearing that, and there's a lot of investors who are engineers right now. They're trying to leave the engineering game, and they want to leave, agile meetings and all that and go and be a real estate investor. But don't just throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak. Keep those same things that you've learned, because that can really help you later on when you're dealing with investors, development partnerships. If you're trying to convince someone to give you this 700 acres of land so you can do a property development and put a water park in there, or whatever it is, you are an eco park, whatever you think you're going to do, and they're like, nobody cares about the environment in this part of the state, and you're like, yeah, they do, and they're going to need a little bit more from that. So these are just ideas that this technique can give you guys. And if you're sitting there confused right now, or you're like, what is this? You can always learn a lot more from Fabian, because he has a Scrum playbook, and his catchphrase of "it's poker, not chess." So you can go to yourscrumplaybook.com, and that's your SCRUM playbook.com, all one word. And we're talking to Fabian Schwartz. So can you give us any more ideas on how Scrum is able to help you produce value faster? So for all those people that are already having a product, or they're having a hard time getting value to the product, how they're able to do things.
Okay, so one of the most important things when you have a product or project is how much time you need to take decisions. There's actually a study out there called decision latency, and one of the major reasons for project failure is a high decision latency. And Scrum is basically designed to shorten this decision loop. So you basically, Scrum, when you implement Scrum, you are able to take way faster decisions. And in an environment where the uncertainty is so high, that's actually very helpful, because you move fast and at the same time you bring uncertainty down.
Okay. And so tell us a little bit about what's behind you. You have a ton of stickies that are on your wall, and then you have all these things written on a chart. Is this all Scrum stuff that you need to be doing?
It actually is. So what's on the board here? We have a major Scrum event at the end of the month. So there are some things we have to do for this event.
Okay.
And the stickies is a Scrum board from one of our teams. I don't even know what they're doing here, but yeah, it's a Scrum board from one of our teams. Yeah, so we have that all over the offices. We have Scrum boards everywhere here. Basically, stickies on the wall. So we rarely use tools when we can avoid them. We only use tools when we have distributed teams.
See, I like that. For small business people, you know, we're always being pitched the new and ultimate software that's going to change your life and make you not have to work if you just buy this software. And the fact is that's hardly ever true. You use, you know, in the worst case, you're working for that software, and that software is the worst boss ever. In the best case, it does make things more convenient. So I like the idea of just getting stickies and putting stickies up, and that can work for a Fortune 100 company or work for me. So I'm a fan of the stickies. Okay, so before we go, tell us a little bit about your book, Your Scrum Playbook, or the website, what they can learn from that website.
Okay, so this website is basically for the book. So the book will be launched in a few days. And if you sign up on that web page, you will get immediately access and information to the book, and the first people will also get a discount if they sign up for the pre-sales. And you can get a free ebook if you sign up right now, where you can get your first 10 steps to implement Scrum. So if you want to start right now, it's probably the first and easiest and free way to start.
Okay, so free, we love free, and we love discount. And I heard both of those in that. So, okay, everybody needs to go visit Fabian. That's Fabian Schwartz at yourscrumplaybook.com. You've been an amazing guest today, and I've learned so much, and I know everybody else has too. And we're all going to learn more about Scrum so we can be agile, quicker on our feet, give more value to everything that we're doing. And if something goes wrong, we'll be able to see it a lot quicker and to pivot from that so we can fix it very quickly. And Tammy, go ahead and take us away.
All right. Thank you so much again, Fabian, for being on with us. And Jennifer, thank you again for being such a gracious host with us today. We will have all of Fabian's links and to his ebook and his book, so everyone will be able to jump on and pre-register for that. Sounds amazing. I will have all of that in the show notes, and you can find us at Leafy Legal. We are on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, all of the different places you can listen, and we are also on all of the places you can hang out on social media at Leafy Legal. Thanks once again for being with us today, and have a wonderful day, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.